Rise from your grave.
So I planned to do this video earlier on when I finished my last semester. I'm fighting a little bit of a cold, so if I pause for a moment, that's the reason. And the squeaky chair, it's not gonna go away. But at the end of the last semester, I wanted to share my art portfolio just from the semester. My professor, Bill Demott, he's amazing, and if anybody's in either Oswego or goes to MTC, I highly recommend taking his Drawing 1 class. It was a lot of fun. Instead of doing a normal size portfolio, we did a binder. This is just the syllabus to begin with, and then here is a little bit of the elements of design. And everything's falling over because I took a little break from, I'm doing a Baraka piece. Baraka speed drawing, but I'm doing digitally, so it's all on this computer to the right over here. So here's some more stuff, just some basic handouts. This is the elements of design, line, shape, value, texture, color, intensity, nice color wheel, elements of design here. Then this is some of the pieces if you've seen on the channel. This is wow, I'm drawing a blank. Wow. No, this is abstract piece, the smaller version. I do have the bigger abstract piece, which I'll show in the video later. Here's a giraffe. This is the Chris Jericho that's been on the channel. Had a lot of fun doing that, Chris Jericho. He's coming to Rochester, so I can't wait to see that. This is the actual collage of the narrative piece that I did on the channel earlier in the, or later in the year. And then this was the second concept for the narrative piece, but I went with the first collage. This is just a reaction to Chuck Close, so we watched a short documentary about Chuck Close. He had a health issue and lost the ability to really use his hands, so he paints with like a contraption on his arm and then uses his mouth, which is amazing. Just the fact that he could do that. Then we had to do out of our comfort zone. The pumpkin that I picked for the Ghostbusters, or I got picked for, is out of my comfort zone. I am not a 3D artist, or I'm very good at sculpturing, so it was a struggle. Still am struggling with it. Just switched to plaster and clay, and now the clay's cracking, so it's still out of my comfort zone, so I'm still enjoying it. This is another piece I did. This is a dying leaf. This is the first day. We drew whatever was in our pockets, so my phone, my wallet, my keys, and a pack of gum. These are just smaller concepts for the bigger abstract piece, and I chose this one. That's why it's gridded out, so that when you draw on the bigger piece of paper, you have these grids to work with. And I'll show you the big piece later. These are just other concepts that I got was working with. This was a practice in the class to try and draw Scooby-Doo. This was trying to shade without using the blender, so just using multiple passes of a pencil and try to get the different gradients in the sphere. This was just a quick pass with charcoal. My hand with charcoal. Charcoal is one of those things where you start off really messy, but the more you erase, you shape into it, the more the image starts to come up. It's almost like putting an old photo in film resolution, and then you slowly, pulling it out, letting it sit. And to me, charcoal is very similar because you're constantly letting it, you're working it out, and you're getting the shape out of it. I have some other charcoal pieces. The sketchbook's really big. The sketchbook is a 18 by 24, so it's a huge sketchbook, and so that's why I'm leaving it for last. This is just showing the isometric projection, and then orthogonal. Orthogonal means that it's actually to the vanishing point, so everything is linear. This is another aerial or atmospheric perspective, 2-point perspective. So this is the vanishing point number 1, vanishing point number 2, and then everything should meet and everything should align. So if you take a ruler, you should be able to align the mirrors or the windows here and the windows here. A lot of important stuff, especially if you want to do comic books or storyboarding. This is really important. This is just a checklist, which was supposed to go on the front of the binder. Shadows and perspective, cross contours. This is the banana project. Just working with different pencils. It's a little hard because we're using this computer paper, so it's hard to really get those values in there, whereas a sketchbook has the tooth, so you can really dig in and not have to worry about ripping the paper. Another banana here. This was the car model, Constance Nunez, and for a while there I really loved drawing her. She just has a really symmetrical face and really great poses to work with. Some shapes, free-handed, so I didn't use a ruler, just kind of keeping my hand steady, and you could see the multiple passes. This was the warehouse style drawing, so you draw a face every one, and then the next one is some more faces here. This was tree bark, or just the close-up of a tree, and then this is it in ink. This is a book reaction. I took out the loo and just sketch something real quick. I'd rather sketch something than write about it. That's just how I've always been. Even when I draw my comic books, I actually draw the comic book out first in little sketches, and then I make the script around it. You know, it's a backwards way of doing it, but good friend of mine, Larry Hama, does it that way. And you know, no one's ever really complained about G.I. Joe. So, and then another book, Michelangelo, just one of the greats, Renaissance painters, and I did a reaction there. This was just the copied, gridded out version of the collage. This was actually pretty cool. I did some ink with a really broken up twig and got some really cool effects out of it. I did an eye with it, and then here playing around a little bit more, but this was with a brush. This is the heaven symbol in Japanese, or sky. This was using pastels. Conte crayon first. I outlined the body with Conte crayon, and then with pastel I did all the white. So anything that has light hitting it is the white. Anything that is not with white or Conte is kind of your mid-tone, and then the Conte is supposed to be your darker tones. And then some more reaction stuff. This is the kind of the concept for the bigger eyepiece that I have on the channel. I was really happy how that came out. This is the actual photograph. And then this is just a practice run I did of an eye. You notice it from some of the intros last year on the channel. This is a knot, and then another one here. Then this was an older lady's face using pastels on black. And then I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here, but I used a pencil with a ruler and just rolled out, and it makes these really cool effects. So onto the sketchbook. I'm gonna have to rearrange the camera just so we get a good view of it. So hopefully I'm zoomed out enough here so you can get a good view of the sketchbook. So the first piece is gonna be the eye that I did. This is my eye from that photograph that you saw on the sketchbook. I still want to go back into it and really darken up some areas and maybe change the shape of the eyelid a little bit, but I really enjoyed this one, and I'm hoping to get it framed to put it up in the office, so that way I always have an eye on my kids when they're in the room. But if you look really close, it's going to be hard because I have a lot of light on here, but you can actually see the reflection of my teacher, Bill Demott, right there in the center because he took the photo. Alright, so that's going to go back in the portfolio because once it's cut out of the sketchbook, I get worried that it's going to get bent. Alright, so this is the first page. Well, there was another first page, but we ripped it out for a project. This is, just trying to get a little bit more in here. This is a mannequin, and then we put a cowboy hat on it with a vacuum cleaner hose, and just use cross hatching, quick, no blending. This was a 30-minute contour sketch. And then this one is a 30-minute contour using more straight lines and only 20% of it being organic. You can see I'm having a hard time getting the sketchbook on the table here. This is another cross contour of a some sort of bird we had in the studio. It was a stuffed bird, but you can see the shape. I have a lot of fun with these because you can always like photocopy it and then color it later. This is my hands, different shapes. My hands like are here, fist, resting, and then fist. This was a little tougher because you didn't have a lot of time on each one. So this was a really fun one. This was called our sit down stand up project. So we had to look at a huge still life and then draw 3 small ones and then draw one where it takes a little longer. Each one was different time limits. So I believe this one was 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then 30 minutes. The next one is the charcoal piece, and we split it up as well. This is a 3-minute charcoal sketch. I'll just leave that there for a second. I can't tell what it is yet. Then we stopped, took a break, and then 8 minutes. So you can kind of start seeing what it is. Trust me, you can't do a lot with 8 minutes with charcoal. And then 20 minutes. So you can actually see what it is. It was actually a mannequin hand resting on a blanket. But the whole purpose of it is so that you can get used to seeing an object 3 or 4 times and drawing it 3 or 4 times, and then you get more used to it. This one, I'm just going to put my fingers over certain areas just so it's YouTube friendly. But here is, these actually weren't for class, I just used the sketchbook to do it. So that was just one that I did in the sketchbook. And then some of the ones that got torn out. So a huge tip to anybody who wants to get better at drawing is to draw figure drawings and still lifes. So that's what you see here a lot, is still life. This is actually from a photograph. Bill had it on the projector, and then we were supposed to draw it. It was all charcoal, and I was really proud how the clouds came out. And then this is the abstract piece that I did. It's actually supposed to be like this. And these are all need to get framed, but I'm really proud what I accomplished my semester back in college. And like I said, big thank you to Professor Bill Demott. Even though it was the fundamentals, I learned so much and was able to really take my time with art again. Be able to really take my time and be more precise, and that's something that I think every artist needs, is just to step away from your comfort zone and try something new. So big thank you to Bill Demott, and also every other professor in the MCC art department. You guys are great and great teachers, and I can't recommend it enough. So thank you so much for watching, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you liked and what you didn't like, and as always, don't forget to keep it over 9,000. Take care.